Am I the asshole? For spending my children's inheritance, leaving almost nothing to them and my grandchildren? Hello, good afternoon. What you are about to read is a recent cause of emotional distress for me, regret, and I'm doing this post with the help of my colleague and his son, whom insist I'm doing the right thing. I'm 63 years old. I took advantage of better times, financially speaking, and managed to get enough money to save, have a good retirement, and leave a good inheritance for my children. However, their actions in recent years has broken my heart. My oldest daughter is a lawyer, married to an attorney. I have another son who is also a lawyer, a third who became an engineer, and the youngest, who is a salesman. I have been a smoker for many years, and the predictable outcome has finally caught me, so I may not have many years left. After knowing this, my children began stabbing each other's backs, trying to get their inheritance earlier. Initially were frequent verbal discussions that escalated to legal battles. The boiling point came when my daughter forged her brother's signature to take their part of the inheritance while I was being treated at the hospital. Now, none of the siblings can see each other in the eye, and only talk through lawyers. Saddened by this situation, decided to spend the money, thinking that if all of it is gone, they would have no more reasons to fight. I donated to charities, bought my wife beauty items, went on vacations with her paying for the better-looking hotel rooms, no planes because of COVID travel restrictions, gave my grandkids expensive gifts, bought my dearest friends and colleagues better equipment to improve their work. We bought a huge TV, prepaid for my funeral, tasted some fine whiskey, among other things. Right now, about 65–70% of my saving are now gone. I plan to keep enough for the time I have left, and leave my wife a good cash amount. However, my children are noticing that I'm spending a lot, and started to ask questions. My daughter figured out what happened on her own. I had no rebuttals, since I'm guilty of all the accusations she made, but then she mentioned that her children will suffer because of my selfish acts. Not only that, but I am cursing all of her grandchildren by doing this. That made me think that my grandchildren shouldn't be punished for their parents' sins, and maybe I was too self-absorbed to realize it sooner. That's my dilemma now. Are you saying an attorney, lawyer, engineer and a salesman can't provide for their children and have to rely on inheritance? Tell them it's your money and ultimately you aren't responsible for their grandkids' future and they should be saving up for them. Tell your kids to jog off and do 1 foot. Not the asshole. Your children turned into savages over money that wasn't even theirs yet. As it's still your money, you can do with as you will, and it sounds like you've been really enjoying your final time on Earth. Maybe amend the will to leave some to your grandchildren and leave your adult children out? Not the asshole. When will kids learn that they are not entitled to any inheritance? This sense that you are owed money from your parents or grandparents is obscene. If people want to leave awesome to a loved one, that's fine, but no one is entitled to it. Not the asshole. It's your money and they are not entitled to a cent of it. It's your money to do with as you wish. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Inheritance is a gift, not an entitlement. If your kids want their kids to have an inheritance, they can work their asses off and save money. Not the asshole, but if you think that if there's no money left your kids won't have a reason to fight, I think you're naive. Not the asshole. No one is entitled to an inheritance. Not the asshole. It is your money. Living for an inheritance is gross. Drink all the whiskey. Not the asshole. An inheritance is what people get when their parents die before they spend all their money. It's not an investment plan. Not the asshole. No one is entitled to your hard-earned money. You educated your children and they all have professional careers, presumably successful, their children are their problem. Not the asshole. Do I think you went about this in a bit of an extreme? Yes. You easily could have just amended a will to be reflective of what you actually wanted to happen with your money. But in the end, it is your money that you earned and you should spend it in whatever way brings you joy. Your grandkids also aren't going to suffer. It sounds like all your kids have great earning potential and they can provide for their children accordingly. Not the asshole. If your grandchildren suffer from a lack of money in the future, it's because their parents failed to guarantee them a good life, not at all because of you. But please spend what's left of your time with the people that love you for you and not for your money. You deserve that. Not the asshole. You are guilty of nothing. Your children have been given a good start in life but have become greedy and selfish. Their children are not your responsibility. It is a sick thing to sit counting someone else's money in the hope that they will die and leave it to you. Not the asshole. You earned it, you have the right to spend it. Not the asshole. You did what you're supposed to do as a parent and gave your kids the opportunity to stand on their own 2 feet. That's all you owe them. You live your life with your it. Wait, you are married and still spent 70 of your saving? What are you leaving your wife? Does she have enough to live comfortably for 30 years? Not the asshole. It's your money. No one has a right to an inheritance. Not the asshole. They are entitled to nothing, so leave them exactly. Not the asshole, it's your money. It may have been earned out for them, but until you are gone it's yours. Spend as you like. Your kids are counting chickens before they hatch and will end up with a basket of broken eggs. Not the asshole. Kids don't have to have inheritance. It's your money. Spend it how you want. Not the asshole, it's your money and inheritance is nothing that they are entitled to. Not the asshole. My wife aren't planning on leaving much for her kids other than our house. We've worked hard for the money we got and we intend to spend it doing things we enjoy. Her kids are settled in their careers and have their own homes, so they don't really need a huge inheritance to bail them out when we go. By the sounds of it, your own children are in the same position. But if you're that worried about the grandchildren, you can always set up a trust fund for them for when they are older. Not the asshole. It sounds like they are all financially stable enough that you're not hurting them by spending your own money. Not the asshole. What's wrong with your daughter? She could get disbarred if her brothers decide to report the forgery. She could potentially get jail time. However, it might be nice to put some money in a trust for the grandchildren as they are innocent parties in all this. They'll need it if their mother can't work anymore. Not the asshole. You're spending your own money on yourself and your wife instead of leaving it to greedy, infighting assholes. Your daughter, the lawyer, is doing nothing but guilting you, and she's full of shit with that cursing line. Absolutely, utterly full right up to her brown eyes. Your behavior is taking care of you and your wife. You haven't impoverished your children with your behavior, or even inconvenienced them. They are just not receiving a cash prize for you coughing up your last bit of black lung. Enjoy your time with your wife. This is justice. Let me reword this for you. Am I the asshole for spending the money I earned how I see fit while preserving enough to care for my wife after my passing? Not the asshole. As to cursing your grandchildren? Are their parents broke, poor and destitute? Hardly. Sounds like they all have good careers and they should be the ones providing for their kids' start in life, not you. If you do want to leave something for the grandkids, set it up in a trust that matures on their majority their parents can't touch. Not the asshole. Your kids have incredibly well-paying jobs and your daughter, who is accusing you of being selfish, is a freaking lawyer. Your grandchildren will be fine. Also, it's your money and you can spend it however you please. Don't feel guilty just because your children feel entitled to it. Not the asshole. Your children were trying to spend their inheritance before your death. Your grandchildren's parents can provide for them in their wills. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Considering all the legal lengths your children are willing to go, they would probably contest any will you have that leaves all the money to grandchildren or charities. They sound incredibly greedy and able to find every legal loophole to exploit. Spending the money now is a great way to avoid this kind of conflict after your death. Enjoy your remaining time with your wife.